All righty, what is going on, ladies and gents? Welcome back to the channel for another market update. Hope everybody had a lovely day. And with that being said, let's dive into the TA. All righty, guys, we got the pump. We now got the dump, at least the start of a dump. And now we're going to talk about it. Okay. The last few sessions here and coming into the week, we were talking about, yes, we can go higher here. Okay, but once we start building out these 4-hour bearish divergence, at some point we will get, at least a mean reversion going on. All right, we're going to get a pullback at some point. Doesn't mean we can't go a little bit higher, but as long as these continue building out, that's going to be a risk. We went higher, we built another point of divergence out, and we started coming down today into that 4-hour 21 EMA. Now, I'm just going to point out that this is the pullback, okay? This is what we're talking about. It can be larger. It can shoot right back up the highs, all right? I just want to clearly show everyone, all right? These are your most recent 4-hour bearish divergences, okay? And there was a divergence here before it got burned. And a lot of these, there were divergences building out over here until it got burned. This was your most recent higher time frame break of structure when you broke out to new all-time highs over here. All right, and you started building them out right here. So as of this drop right here, okay, this was where you first started building them out. Now at this point, we've been building these out for about a week now, so we're just going to say we're over here. Do you see what happened? Okay, you continue building them out. You continue getting these, feeble pullbacks here, 1%, and then you kept pushing up to new highs. And then you retrace the move, all right, another pullback, move up to new highs. Another pullback, move up to new highs. Over here was the only one that really brought a decent sell. So I am just going to say I am open to moving back up to highs. Maybe we come down a little bit lower. Okay, we're going to talk about levels in this video where we're going to be watching for from here. All right, but I just want to remind everyone that this is the first time they're popping up since we had this, since we built out this range over here. A month and a half, we built it out over here and we pushed up. This is your higher time frame break of structure there. This is the first time you are building out those divergences. So, it's going to be like over here. That's all you got. Okay. And if you just go back even further, okay, you got this decline over here. All right. 2%. You got this decline over here. It was a little bit more there. 3%. You got this decline right here. Okay. And it actually went from up here. All right, 2.5%. And then you broke to new highs and you had very little pullbacks up until this bad boy right here from these divergences. So I'm just making it real clear here. Yes, this is the pullback we're talking about. This was that little pump and dump action. All right, that's the whole reason I was looking for pump and dump. 4-hour bearish divergences, they're continuously building out here. All right, they're continuously loading puts on SPY, QQ, and IWM over there, 1017. All right. October, some November puts are coming in. I'm just saying, all right, these things typically lead us to a pullback. That's why we've been talking about it. That's why we were saying, hey, it's a time to be taking your profits into these highs, okay, de-risking, and then you can add the risk back at a lower price, okay, after things revert to the mean. And I'm still going to say, we don't know if we're going to get more than what we got today. We don't know. But I'll tell you right now, if you do pull back, underneath the 4-hour 21 EMA, if you break underneath 595.85 here in QQQ, all right, that's when we're going to look to the next spot, which is going to be the daily moving averages, your mean reversion we talked about between the 21 and the 9 EMA. And that is going to be underneath 595.85. We're talking 592.86 and 587.86. All right, those are in between these two levels. That's where we're anticipating buyers are going to be stepping in. We could come down and test the 21. Right underneath, we have where we just broke out from 583.32. So if we retest there, that's probably going to bring buyers back into the mix. We spent all day oversold. All right, so I won't be surprised if we get some relief tomorrow. But I'm also just going to say, all right, I don't know if we are going to have this larger correction start up or not. I'm really not sure. All right, but this is what I was, warning people about. This is why I was saying, hey, I think it's a time to be taking profits into the highs, not adding on, too many new swings there, unless you're thinking it's not going to be moving against the market. Okay, which if you're not, you know, if you're new to the channel, then you don't know. But if you're not new to the channel, then you know. At the end of the video, every single video, we give out some trade ideas that we think are going to be getting the moves. All right. Doesn't matter what the market's going to be doing. Some of them go with the market. But at the end of the day, these are their own individual setups on the individual tickers there. And yeah, I'm telling you guys for a fact, there's always something moving in the market. Doesn't matter what the market's doing. Okay. I try and help you guys find those tickers every day here on this channel. Okay. So if you are new here, hit the like, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell if you want. You can know when we're posting. All right. And give us, you know, 20, 30 minutes of your time each day after market close. And you'll have a whole ton of preparation into the next day without you having to put all the time in. Does that sound like a good deal? I think it sounds like a good deal. If so, hit the subscribe button. There you go. Okay. But QQ guys and SPY 1 hour RSIs are oversold. So I'm serious, guys. That could have been all she wrote. We pulled right back to the 4 hour 21 EMA. We swept yesterday's low over here on SPY. I'm really not sure. You know, DIA, I was saying yesterday, if we see, you know, everything start pulling back and DIA and IWM don't shoot up to new highs, okay, then I think that pullback there is going to be short-lived before these things, DIA and IWM, shoot up to new highs. Well, today, they did end up putting in these topping tails. We did get up to new highs as the others were selling, and SPY and QQ were selling there. All right, VIX did end up, you know, taking out that high there. I'm still going to say you're just going to have to, you know, to get a larger VIX spike, you got to start breaking out from this channel. You've been this descending channel for quite some time now. All right, and, you know, you got faked out over here, okay? Just break above 1938 over here on VIX, and you're going to have a larger push, okay? At that point, the party gets started, all right? There you go. But, you know, until then, guys, I'm telling you, this can go either way, and we're just going to have to take the wait-and-see approach here. And if they don't hold the 4 hour 21 EMA, we're going to look for that daily mean reversion there, all right? And we went over the levels over there on QQQ for the downside, all right? But on the upside, above 600, all right, we're talking 602.87 and then 605. All right, and then over here on SPY on the upside, we're talking 664.89, 667.34, and then 670. On the downside, 662.17. That was yesterday's low. And we did end up sweeping it today. But again, we spent all day oversold over here, and the hourly RSI is oversold. And again, all of these bearish divergences recently, they have not led to anything major there, except for one, as pointed out over here on QQQ. All right, except for one, and it did not look like what we have right now. I'd say it looks more like what we have over here, and you just continue building them out and getting these slight pullbacks to the 21 EMA, and then you kept pushing up. And not the daily, we're talking the 4 hour 21 EMA. All right. So I'm just saying, could go either way. Don't get too bearish too quick over here. I'm the permabull, okay? If you don't know, okay, I'm the permabull. YouTube, get used to it. Guess what? If I'm looking for a pullback, you probably should be taking risk off and also looking for that pullback. There's a reason. But yeah, you know, I was the person pointing out beforehand, okay? I'm now the person going to tell you that, you know, everyone's going to get really bearish real quick over here. And even if you get back over here, all right, you see this sharp decline, 10 to 15 points, it's going to present a big buying opportunity. We're clearly in a big move up. IWM just hit new all-time highs. You pull back, you're going to set up for the move to new all-time highs after that. It's going to be a mean reversion over here. And that's on the weekly, okay? Like, no matter what, we're going much higher. All right, that is what we're thinking over here. Weekly RSI, guys, this whole run, it hasn't been overbought. Guess what? It's going to get overbought, and it's going to stay overbought for so long. Okay, that's what happens. All of it's, you know, just look back. That's what happens. Okay, at some point that is going to become the case. All right, that hasn't became the case. I'm guessing. Well, we just got up there. I'm guessing we're not going to leave here just yet. And if we do, what happens? Okay, you pull back a week and then you start going back up. You have this mean reversion to the 9 EMA there. All right, that would be the equivalent of us coming all the way back down to 650. Okay, which, just like QQ over there, that's where it broke out. And so many people are going to get super bearish. Okay, and we're going to say, guys, this is what you were looking for. All right, this is your big opportunity. It's a knocking. There you go. All right, guys, so those are the indices. Let's go over some Mag 7 stocks. But, you know, honestly, everything looks pretty similar, except for Amazon. So we'll start off with that guy. Amazon, guys, 4-hour RSI is oversold. You're now in the golden pocket from this whole dance there. All right. The thing fell off a cliff today. I'm just going to tell you, if buyers are going to step in, they're going to hold the golden pocket, 217. You take out 217, you have risk of coming down to 211.42. As long as that does not become the case, guys, you're sitting right here on the weekly 21 EMA. All right, you're sitting exactly on it. That's where you found buyers over here. That's where, you know, a bunch of times you're going to find your buyers. If you do not find your buyers around there and you get under there, that's what brings a multi-week correction underneath the moving averages. I got the hiccups. Excusez-moi. All right. But, you know, even when you're going to fade under there, you still get your bounces. All right. You still get your bounces around that area. So I don't think Amazon is going to go much lower in the short term. Okay. Without just doing a whole bunch of dancing around and putting in structure down here. Okay. If this thing builds out like this for the next month, okay, that's a different story. But, you know, honestly, even if you come down here, like it probably is just going to, you know, resolve to the upside at some point. You're looking for that move to the upside. I don't know if they're going to save the monthly candle over here, but I do think at some point, all right, they're just going to break you up out of this consolidation all at once. All right, like one of these guys. And yeah, you'll be at all-time highs. Do I think it's going to go something like GOOG? I don't know. I don't know. This is kind of a monster move over here, okay? But, you know, I'm also going to point out, guys, do you really want to go short on something, you know, flying high in the sky like this? It's just been aggressive. Okay, like every little dip has been eaten over here. You haven't even tested the 9 EMA since you took off into the sky at the very beginning of the month. It's now been almost a whole month. Okay, 3 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks that you've been sitting up here. Okay, you really want to go short on this guy? So I'm just saying, guys, focus on things that are weak. My personal opinion. Okay, if you're long and focus on things that are showing strength. Okay. And if you want to go short, focus on things that are weak. And, you know, Amazon's been weak. You guys all see, like, this is what I'm talking about. Look for a setup. Okay. Look for the weakness to present itself and then bang. Okay. If you really want, take a shot. Okay. But, like, do you really want to do that on something like GOOG over here that's not showing any sort of weakness whatsoever? Nah, I don't think it's a good idea. Okay. But that's Google. That's all I'm really going to say for Google. Okay. As far as levels go, guys, you have 240, 257 on the downside. There you go. All right. NVIDIA. NVIDIA did end up having quite a big give back of yesterday's move today. If you take out yesterday's low over here at 174.71, that's not the best look. Okay. Ideally, you're going to consolidate here and then you're going to push back up. What I am going to tell you with certainty is that this doesn't make any sense that it's not going to revisit this high. It's going to be revisiting this high. All right. If you happen to get, you know, on the downside here, you take 176.21 out, you take 174.71 out, and then somehow you break the 0.786 right here. Chances are you're just coming down to take out that low. All right. Or sweep it. You put in a double bottom, something around this 21 EMA. If you take out the 21 EMA, you open yourself up to a bigger slide. But the fact that we haven't tested it all this run tells us that, yeah, we're probably going to get a bullish reaction off it on that first test. Which I'm just going to say, all right, this is very similar over here. And I would just say the fact that they did end up pushing it straight up to all-time highs yesterday tells us that this dip is going to be bought. We're going to be revisiting these highs. It's just a waiting game. We'll see if they give you a boost. We'll see if they gap you up tomorrow, maybe give you an inside day over here, build some structure out, and then push you up. But I think this is a no-brainer waiting to happen on a big breakout move to $200, okay? It's my opinion on NVIDIA, okay? Meta, well, what did we tell you guys? It's a troll, okay? We're not looking for it to do anything this month. We're looking for it to get the moves. Put the moves on her next month, October, my birthday month. All right, my birth month. But real talk, guys, it did pull back. It gave back most of the move. It just had up. I don't expect it to have a move up into end of month here. I expect it to close underneath all-time highs. And that's all I'm really going to say for it. We'll address it next month. But for the time being, I'm very confident this thing is just going to continue trading back and forth. Just like we were confident at the very start of the month it was going to be doing that this month. Still not a ticker to be traded, in my personal opinion. Microsoft, guys. We talked about it yesterday, guys. Just wait for the break over 520. It's probably going to bring you straight up to 530. That's the next tradable move over here. Till that presents itself, I would just say it's in consolidation. Leave it alone. There's no reason to touch it. All right. It's a no man's land. If it does break 505.93, there's a chance it can come back down to the lows. But are you going to take that chance? It's up to you. All right. It's starting to turn itself around. I personally don't know where it's going to be going in the short term here. And I don't think they're going to take out these lows. Just like NVIDIA, you're right at the weekly 21 EMA. I am inclined to believe they're going to hold it here. Then if we do revisit it, we're probably just going to sweep the low, hit a double bottom, like what I was just saying on NVIDIA. And yeah, we're probably going to find buyers around there. So yeah, that's Microsoft, guys. Just wait for the break above 520. Tesla started catching a bid today, guys. All right. Got the little nifty gap up there and then closed out with the bearish engulfing candlestick. Not the time to be trading this thing. Okay. I'm, sticking to what I was saying in yesterday's video, guys. This is a time where we're probably going to be building out consolidation here. I think there are a lot of better opportunities, a lot cleaner moves to be had. All right. If you're an options trader, okay, and you're looking to swing, I mean, even if you're, day trading these options like the weeklies, you just need massive moves on Tesla after this move right here to get your money. Okay. There are a lot of other tickers out there that I share over here that have setups that will have movement on a day-to-day basis that you could pay attention to and you could trade. And they're going to be a lot cleaner in this name over here, at least for the time being. Ideally, this is going to fill this gap down here, 396.69. We build out consolidation over the next 2 to 3 weeks, just like we did over here. And we get up for, we work up the structure over here over the next few weeks for that next move up to highs. All right. And we will run it back. I do think the move up to all-time highs is coming. And I think it might happen next month. All right. We'll see about it. I'll keep you guys posted. But that's Tesla for the time being. There's really no reason to be trading, in my personal opinion. All right. Apple started pulling back. The dip buy is a clear button. The dip is a clear buying opportunity over here if we do revert back to the mean / just consolidate here for a few sessions. If we pull back into 250, it's probably going to be bought. You just had a really big move up, but the 21 EMA, if let's say that happens tomorrow or early on the following session there, it's probably still going to be right around 250. Okay, that's picture perfect. That's what you want to see. This thing is going up to all-time highs. I don't know if it's going to fill that gap before. I don't think it's going to. I think we're just going to be at new all-time highs by either this week or next week. Not sure which one of those is going to be. Maybe next week because we went so far so quick, and maybe we consolidate. And then we have another opportunity to trade this guy for another breakout next week. All right, we'll see about it. But the last all-time high break, I'm just going to point out, especially after all this consolidation, just like over here, guys, and this thing freaking exploded that week. So, yeah, Apple's one to watch. All right. All right, so those are the Mag 7 stocks, guys. Now, I have a few stocks here that are getting some clean moves, and I hope you guys made some solid money today. All right. I know the market decided to, fall off a cliff there, but in reality, it's only down 1%. And I was trying to get everybody ready for it. And I'm trying to, have everybody, you guys could do whatever you want. No financial advice will be given out here on this channel. But I would like to prepare people for this move so they aren't, sitting there freaking panicking. Okay. Because that's when the comments, I see it all in the comments. Okay. So I understand. I do. I've seen all the cycles. Not all the cycles throughout this whole market, but I'll tell you, over the past years, yeah, I've seen a very clear picture of what happens on social media here. And yeah, all right, like everybody loves to call tops. Everybody does. And that's just how it is. And everybody also likes to panic on these sells over here because a lot of people are over leveraged. Don't let that be you. There you go. Okay. First one we're going to talk about is Sound. Okay. SOUN. You did end up getting the 10% pop today at the highs. I think you were up a little bit more there, 11%. I personally took everything off. I added some back. I ended up taking off, all right, most of that as well, right around break even. But congratulations, guys. All right. If you're in 1017 calls when we started pointing it out over here, you managed to, well, I mean, hey, all right. From my averaged up entry, we pulled out 100%. But, let's look at it this way. You could have gotten in, in 17C sitting down there 140. They end up going above $300 today. I think it hit like 340, 350. All right, guys. I hope you made some money. I'm just saying, I think the top is in for the time being over here on Sound. If not, okay, that's fine. I think we're probably going to put in some consolidation. It's fine if we miss a little. But the fact that they did put in a topping tail today makes me think that, yeah, it's probably right around the corner before we have that pullback, and we'll get another opportunity when it pulls back to the 9 EMA. So that's what I'm thinking over here on Sound. All right, next one is going to be PLTR, guys. So PLTR started getting a spike intraday today. This was over because of the Boeing deal. But I'm just going to say this thing, all-time highs is imminent. This thing's going to be moving back up to all-time highs. 4-hour looks really clean. I'm just going to point out the 1-hour chart. This looks really clean over here. You know, honestly, all of this looks really clean. You got a range break going on. You built out a range, another one, break and retest off that range. All right. And then boom, what happens? You start building something out up here. Okay. Above 184.42, you have nothing until all-time highs at 190. I think it's probable that we get 190 plus by the end of this week. Doesn't have to happen, but if not, I think next week we're probably going up to all-time highs. Either this is going to go like this, or this is just going to do its problem. It's going to push up in the short term here. We'll see what happens, but yeah, I'm looking for all-time highs in the short term. That's PLTR. Now, CRWV, guys, this is the other one that I think is going to move tomorrow. All right. Congratulations. If you made money off this initial pop here, guess what? The move's not done. All right. I know the market wanted to fall off a cliff today, but again, reality, okay, QQ was only down 1%, and we could just be reverting back to the mean, and the tide could be going back to rising as soon as tomorrow. We'll see what happens, but either way, this name is definitely one to keep on your radar over here for this move. I think the only two things that are really standing out to me for a move tomorrow out of, you know, this structure they have built out is PLTR and CRWV. Okay, we're going to talk about some other big movers today, some other big winners there that I hope some of you guys got in on when prices were much freaking lower. But CRWV, guys, this thing, I think tomorrow is probably going to take out 136.48, and above there, we go 140 plus quick. 142.50 is going to be that second target. All right, but we did end up coming up to the first target there. We started pulling back around it, and now, all right, the next one, 142.5, I think is probably going to trade in the short term here. I just think it makes sense that this weekly candle is going to get a lot wider here. Most of these weekly candles, they can span, you know, we're talking 15, 25%, but on the green trending candlesticks, these guys go a little bit crazy. All right. And we got the doji candle last week. Okay. Doji candle, expand. Doji candle, expand. Doji candle, expand. All right. We already got that. All right. I'm thinking we get some expansion at the end of week here on CRWV. Keep it on watch. And if you guys still want to come trade with me, I'm live in Discord every day. And come get all my trades, as well as, you know, we got a whole community there. But that lifetime is still half off using code CRWV. All right. That is going to be code CRWV for half off. All right. But yeah, I'm telling you guys, even if this thing decides to cool off, guys, please don't take this off your radar. I'm telling you guys right now, that NVIDIA deal it did end up getting, that is a complete game changer. All right, like straight up, this give it a few months here, and this is probably just going to be back up at all-time highs. I'm not talking just about a short-term, you know, swing idea here. That's definitely the play, okay. But I'm definitely also going to say, for the long term, for a longer-term swing back up to all-time highs, I think this is where that move starts up. Okay, so please don't take it off your radar. I know it's going sideways today. I understand the market decided to do that as a whole. You kind of just had this action right off rip there in the morning. But I'm definitely going to say, guys, you know, this is something setting up still in the short term. You know, you have it still holding structure over here on the 4-hour time frame. And if it is going to start moving how I think, then we're going to see this 4-hour RSI just literally stay overbought. And we're going to keep having these mean reversions on the 4-hour time frame back to the, you know, 21 EMA, the 9 EMA there, just like we got going on right here. Okay, and then we're going to keep pushing up to new highs. So we'll see if we take out that high tomorrow. I think it's highly probable, but either way, if you get some sideways action, don't be scared away by this play. I'm telling you, all right, NVIDIA, whatever this company can handle, all right, whatever they want, they can grow as much as they can. NVIDIA will buy out, okay? They will buy their stuff. As much growth as they possibly can handle here, okay? NVIDIA is going to keep feeding them that demand for it, which just means they have to expand, okay? That's all they have to do. Whatever capacity they can grow this to, NVIDIA will buy till 2032, all right? They already have $6.3 billion, okay, locked into that. But there's a stipulation that any excess, you know, capacity there, they will buy, okay? So just realize this is something that's being backed by the beast over there, and it's something that's probably going to be going a lot higher over the coming weeks and months. I'm talking back up to all-time highs. And the move starts from right here. We knew about it early because of the flow coming in, and we knew, you know, things were getting real tight over here. It was top watch, okay, coming into this week. But at the same time, this ain't nothing. We're going a lot higher, okay? So get ready, all right? That's CRWV. ASTS, congratulations. The thing is skyrocketing today. Rocket Lab also back up to highs. Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful baby right here, okay? All right, guys, congratulations if you took this one on. All right, you're going to be pushing 200% if you go a little bit higher there from where I pointed it out on the 1017 calls. I'm currently sitting in 45C right now. And these are just going to keep getting, you know, further and further into the money. And I'm telling you guys, I think this thing's about to have a big breakout. We got in early on this thing, but I'm pretty positive this thing's going to be breaking above 60.95 in the short term. Maybe not this week, okay, but it's only Tuesday and this thing's up 21%. All right, maybe it is going to go a little crazy this week, and it's going to be crazier than any of these other weeks, but I'm just letting you know these top out at around 30%. So if you get up there, you know, 25-30% on the week, we already went quite a bit. All right, 20% this week of candle, like, I don't know. I'm just letting you know, if you push 57.58, maybe top around there for the week, consolidate, and then you continue to move up next week. Maybe we get a little gap down to start off next week, and then you get the breakout. I'm not sure. I'm just, you know, thinking out loud here. But either way, insane volume coming into this name. This reminds me of this move right over here that I definitely put on your radar right over there. And I do think this is probably going to be taking out all-time highs in the short term. So keep it on your radar. Congratulations if you got in much lower over here. And also on the Rocket team, we have Rocket Lab. We talked about it. You got your last, you know, really just bearish weekly candle you got that just sliced through price, all right, or sliced through the structure you built out, was over here, okay, right underneath previous all-time highs. And you got that same scenario going on over here. Now you work your way back up. I'm just going to say the fact that we did this tells us either this week or next week, Rocket Lab is probably breaking out, and I think 60 plus is incoming. I think it's finally time. This bad boy's about to be moving, and it makes sense that it's starting to move with the others in its you know, little theme here, okay? So yeah, ASTS, guys, looking for that all-time high breakout there, above 60.95, and looking for 70 plus. And then Rocket Lab over here, above 55.17, we're looking for 60 plus. But if you're not new to the channel, all right, then you already knew about these names, and you had shots to them much lower. I'm definitely going to say ASTS over here is the one that I just think it's going to be providing a bunch of opportunities, just like I was pointing out CRWV over there. All right, this is another one that when it likes the trend, you just get your, you know, mean reversion here on the 4-hour time frame, pull back to the 9 and the 21 EMAs. Those are going to be your clear as day buying opportunities over there. I'm not saying it's going to trade exactly like this, but if you start violating what I'm talking about right now, then just know you're going through a sideways period, and you don't have to be going balls to the walls looking for, you know, upside on the name. You don't have to trade it that way. Okay, you can wait for the thing to then break that consolidation and start trending again, and then you trade it again. All right, so that's how the ticker trades. We're keeping it on our radar over here. I'm telling you guys, I don't know. You guys could be taking your profits. I think this thing, you know, the best idea here is to take profits into highs if we get that 57.58. All right, and look for, you know, the smaller time frame trades just like that, and you can, you know, structure them differently, but hold your underlying swing. Or this larger move. I think this larger push is about to be coming. All right, above 60.95, 70 plus. Okay. UNH, guys, we talked about yesterday. I like how it's based around the weekly 21 EMA over there. We did get the pop above 344.93 today, and you actually did go, you had about a 10-point pop, 9-point pop up to 353, 354. All right, not too bad. It's 352.70 at the high, 8-point pop. All right, I'm looking for structure to build out over here for a few sessions here, and then push up into end of week. Okay. That is what I'm thinking is probable here, or you are just going to continue pushing up. But I would love to see some of this action, okay? Because the more structure you're building out, okay, the more sound it is. And I would like this to be sound. And I think we could take this up to the gap fill at 376.84. All right, above 362.31, we have 376.84. But I'm watching for consolidation over the coming session. Not saying it happens, okay? If we just start getting up here, guess what? This is having another breakout move, and we're probably going a lot higher than 376.84. That's just the target if we can get in down here, okay? But you know, I do think this thing is probably 380, 390. I think it should be a good target area for this next pop. All right. Now I'm not going to take credit for this one. All right. But I am going to put it on your radar in case it's not on your radar. All right. If I see any smaller time frame setups, I'll point it out. I'm not telling anybody to go long the name right now. I'm not. It's not one of my setups for the short term right here. So just realize it's not the case. But this is something I saw on Twitter. His name is WAM, Wealth on Mars. Okay, we follow each other on Twitter. I just saw it, you know, right after market close there. And I just want to say, I agree. This thing, yeah, this thing looks like at some point over the next 1 to 2 months, it's probably going to explode above 2065. So we're gonna put it on our radar here. Just expect that you are going to see trade ideas around this name over the coming few months here, because I'm going to be watching it and we're going to be looking for this move. But for the time being, guys, weekly RSI is overbought. You do have a bearish divergence going on. I would love for this thing to pull back here and build out some structure before that eventual move up to 2065. Because if we just push up 2065, I kind of just think this thing is just going to go, whoop, just a little false breakout movement. It's going to pull back to, you know, over there, 15, 16 bucks anyway for us. But either way, just realize this thing, this multi-chart looks absolutely sick over here. And a break above 2065 is when this thing is probably getting 30 bucks pretty quick. I just looked at what calls were. I forgot what expiration, but there were, I feel like there were 6 to 7 months out there. The 20C, and they were only going for like 250 bucks there. Okay. Well, if this thing goes up to 30 bucks, there you go. You have a 4X. Now I'm just going to say the play here, leaps. All right. You want to get in. You don't want to wait for the pullback I'm talking about or nothing like that. You just want to get in. Okay. You want to just sit in these things and just maybe lock in, you know, a 3 to 5Xer, you know, over the coming months. If you have this move up to 30 bucks. Okay. Yeah. All right. Load up some leaps, sit on them. There you go. But I'm telling you, I'm probably going to let you know about a trade idea that's going to, you know, it's going to be more sound than just trying to buy this thing up here, because the daily and weekly RSIs are already overbought. I think this thing is going to pull back and you get a much better entry. There you go. All right. MP over here on the weekly shaping up really nicely. Previous all-time high, almost got the break and retest, pulled back to the 9 EMA, and now it's pushing back up. All right. We're watching for a big move over 82.5, guys. I think 100 plus is going to be incoming over on this name. Definitely is a name that's proved itself. It can move. And I think that next big move is around the corner. All right. But you had a little consolidation here. Boom. All at once. Okay. All at once. All at once. Well, you haven't been doing those moves all at once now. Okay. You've been consolidating. Let's see if you get that next breakout and all of a sudden you're back to having these 20, 30% moves. Let's see about it. It's MP. Grab. All right. It's pulling back now. Last week, record volume on the name. Highest weekly volume ever recorded on the name. Just know they are very likely, in my opinion, accumulating here. I don't think they're distributing. You barely had a move at this point. You just hit it with a gnarly break and retest off of this previous base. All right. And now you broke out the new highs on the heaviest volume ever recorded. It's now pulling back. I think the dip's going to provide a buying opportunity over here. All right. Watch for the mean reversion between the 21 EMA and the 9. All right. 572 is where you broke out from. If you happen to pull back into that area, it should be bought. Okay. But you have not hit the jets on this name here. So keep it on your radar. Okay. You're consolidating here. Hopefully we get a larger pullback here and we see this thing come down to under $6. All right. But at the end of the day, it's likely to be bought. Let's grab. All right. Rivian ended up making a new high today, guys. I'm just going to say this could have a big move over 1598. We're talking 1715. I personally got out of Rivian today just because of the uncertainty in the market. All right. And there's just some other names that I know don't trade, you know, just like this guy over here. And, but I'm just going to say a lot of consolidation, breakout yesterday, break and retest off 1503 today. All right. Next stop, 1598 and then 1715. And then AVGO. This is the last one. Well, that I got a few. Hang on. I got you guys. I got you. But you're pulling back into the daily 21 EMA. Okay. Buyers are going to step in. It's going to be around the 21 EMA. That's, you know, that's just a rough rule of thumb there. That's just what happens. Okay. If they don't step in, we do risk coming all the way back down here to 317.35 where we ultimately broke out from. All right. We'll see about it. But again, if buyers are going to step in, Okay, it's going to be around that 21 EMA, which happens to be right around that 331.42 gap support. That's AVGO. MU has their earnings in the after hours, guys. If they kill premiums here, I don't know if they're going to put a nasty reversal candlestick, but I do think you're going higher over here. I'm just letting you guys know. But look for the pullback over here into previous all-time highs and look for some structure to build out. That would be ideal. Okay. Reddit, guys, you get a nasty pullback into the previous all-time high over here. What do we talk about in this name? Don't buy the highs. Okay. Getting on these pullbacks over here. It's probably going to be trading just like that. Even if you're taking out 21 EMAs. Okay. You did so here, did so here, you did so here. All right. You're still seeing those get bought. Not saying it's going to be exactly like it, but we've seen this name so far has traded just like how it did over there on that big move. It's probably going to continue having that type of action, okay, that back and forth for the next few weeks while it's in this area. Can it top out and have this major pullback all the way back over here and then work its way up? Yeah, that's also a possibility. It is, but it just had this breakout. It's probably going to find buyers around this area and push right back up. We'll see about it, though. We'll see about it. It's not top watch or anything. I just thought I'd put it on your radar. And then this is another one over here that I don't think it's ready to go just yet, but we're going to watch it for the break above 86.65 this week, guys. This weekly candle just might expand, and we actually might get a big boy move up to 92 bucks. That's the next spot, okay? Above 92, we're talking 99. Above there, 107.86, okay? This is a big base breakout, and then you got the retest. And how long did the retest take, you ask? Okay, that's like 8 to 9 months, I'm pretty sure, okay? Maybe 9 to 10. That's a long time, all right? It's like 8.5 months right there. That's a long time. You just broke out from that last week. You just got the break and retest going on yesterday off of the 83.06. And if you can, all right, build some consolidation out here and then push above 86.65 into end of week, there's a chance this thing might get some outsized moves. But yeah, this is known to run in the past. Once it breaks out of these big consolidations, you're breaking out, you know, your next big consolidation here. Let's see if you get some moves. Okay. That's what I have for you guys today. QS is another one over here that I do think is going to be getting up to the high sooner rather than later. And this monthly chart is definitely, just like Riot there, this is one to keep on your freaking radar over here and look for the smaller time frame entries over there on the daily time frame. This is looking sick. This looks like it's going to explode. This looks like 20 plus is going to be incoming once you break 15 bucks. That's QS. All right. That's what I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. And with that being said, guys, I will catch y'all in the next one. Peace.